Now I'm recording. Okay, so we have all that front page covered, and now we have pretty much everything that I had on the agenda for day one covered. So we can start day two with, or we'll jump ahead and we'll cover navigation. And I think we're gonna be here probably till like 4. So yeah, we might even, I don't even know if I can stretch the content that long, but we'll see how much we can cover. So we're gonna be covering navigation. So on the site, we have two menus, two main front end menus. We have this top level navigation. And when you mouse over this navigation, you'll get the little pencil icon, and you wanna click configure menu if you wanna change it. And then at the very bottom, same thing, we have a bottom footer menu that is set up as a block, so you don't have that quick icon, but I'll show you how to get there. So the main thing that I want to kind of press on is when you create content for a Drupal site, a part of creating a page, you'll have the ability to add or insert the page within the navigation. You're not going to have to go to the navigation separately every time and insert that page into the navigation. I'll show you that really quickly in a bit, but let me show you where the navigation is going to be located. So underneath structure, go to menus and then main navigation. So that's our top navigation. And as you can see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And you can also see the same exact thing on your screen as well. We have the home link, information, and then the sublinks. And you can see how they're indented. And that's how the drop downs are powered, is these little indentations right here. So at any time you see these little cross arrows in Drupal, so this little cross, when you mouse over, you can click on them and you can drag them. So let's scroll to the very bottom, and we have administrative, and we have a bunch of links. So let's say we wanted to reorder or change the sorting order for these. This is the easiest place to sort content, are these navigational links. And all you have to do is click and drag. And then once you release, you'll see the little asterisk, and that means that there's a change made, but at the very top you can see you have unsaved changes. So I can make a bunch of changes, but it won't be preserved until I save at the very bottom, save the link. So we can go in and we can change the order that any of these links are sorted from these drop down links within information. So I'm up at information again. So let's say we wanted the NC web at the very top. All I have to do is click and drag. And then let's say we wanted information to be listed below after predictive services. I can click the whole entire section of information, and then drag that below predictive services. And it can be a little kind of like tricky because now it's like indented, but if I just drag it up a little bit and then outdent because it's indented, I can release it so it's not underneath predictive services. The easiest way is I could just click and drag predictive services above it. Since I have such a short window with this low resolution, it's really hard to do these click and drags, but once you're on your screen, you shouldn't have that same problem. But I was able to sort predictive services above information, and then I'm going to make a change. So please make a change. Remember, these are just our demo sites, so it's fine. You can make whatever change you want because these essentially will be destroyed later. I'm going to click save, and then I can see back like in this menu backend that my changes were saved, and more importantly, if I go back to the site, open that in a new tab, I can see that it's been changed here as well. so I can see that information is now after the predictive services. So has everyone been able to make a change and save it and see their change? Okay, so let's go back to the menu, and I'm gonna kind of just a side note. Most sites don't have a home link. The logo and the site title is the home link. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna disable this link right here. So this one right here, when we go back to that main menu, all we have to do is just check this enable right here in that column, and then scroll to the very bottom and click save. And then if we go back to the site and click refresh, you can see that that home link has been taken off of the that main navigation. And that goes for like any link. You don't. This isn't just the home navigation. This could be if you wanted to quickly kind of like hide a page. Really, what you would want to do is unpublish the page. But if you wanted just to quickly just hide it from the main nav, you could disable it from the main navigation. If it's not unpublished, people can still get to it, like from Google, because everything's is pretty much indexed by Google, so people could still get to it. But if you wanted just to remove it temporarily from the main navigation, you could do so in this fashion. Also, for these links, let's create a manual link, because there are going to be times when you're wanting to add a link, and there's quite a few of these links that are linked to external sites. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So at the very top, there's a link that says, or a button that says add link. So click that, and let's give it a title. I'm just going to, let's send it to Netflix, your little buddy, your next door neighbor, Netflix. And then, so any link, we're going to remove this, so don't worry about it. So just make a link. You want to make an external link, and then if you wanted to, you can, in the description, I always just make it the same as the link title. And then underneath attributes, this is pretty important. You always want to select the target as blank for any external links. So any links that aren't internal pages, you want to, underneath attributes, change that target to blank so it opens up in a new tab, because you don't want, this goes for like any link within your site as well. You don't want people to click a link that goes to another site and it replaces your site. It's just not really great convention. Okay, so that's all I want to do. I'm going to just click save and then scroll down, and by default it added that link to the very bottom. Now let's take our new link and let's drag it to the very top, so it's the very first link, and click save. And then at in the front end, I'm going to refresh the page, and I can see my new link to Netflix on the next site.
Is there a way to password protect it?
That's a feature that we've been talking about, that we're probably later on, that they're going to have kind of intranet essentially, but there are modules definitely for that. Okay. So we have our Netflix link that we definitely don't want to keep. So let's remove it. I'm going to show you how to remove the link. So going back to that main navigation, on that Netflix link, I'm going to, there's this little arrow right here. I'm going to click that. It's going to kind of toggle down, and I'm going to click delete. This is the faster way. I could have clicked edit and then at the very bottom hit delete. This is just a couple less clicks, or one less click. And so I've deleted my Netflix link, and if I go back to the home page, click refresh, my Netflix link is gone. I know, you want to support your neighbor. Okay, so that is, so does anyone have any questions about this main navigation? No? Okay. And does everyone understand how this indentation powers this. So like the drop downs, you indent a link, so it is a drop down within that predictive services. Is that, I mean, it's pretty intuitive. So for example, this forms, reports, and templates is a link with underneath reference materials, which is fine. You can have sub links. Most often you guys are probably just going to have two levels, that main and then the drop down. Okay, so let's go to underneath structure, menus. We have our footer navigation, so let's click that. And this is pretty simple. The footer navigation can't have any drop down links. If you start indenting things, it just won't show. So it's a single level navigation. I've yet to see a drop down link in a footer. So yeah, it's pretty simple, and you really just want to add just a few of those links that you don't want to clutter up your top level links. So like things like the disclaimer. But it works just like the main nav, where you can sort. So if you want like about to be after disclaimer, I could drag and drop, click save, and then go back to the home page, refresh, and I can see that it's been shifted. And then if I want to add, let's go through adding a link one more time, just so we can kind of get really used to it. So I'm going to click add link, and who should we make a link to now? POTUS? How about Google? Okay, Google, and then whoever you want to make a link to, that's fine. And then again, description, that's kind of like a meta, like kind of descriptive tag within that link that it's going to add that content in there. It isn't required. And then underneath attributes, you want to change that target to blank, because this isn't an internal link. And let's click save. And now if we go back to the front end of the site and scroll down, we can see our new link. So going back to the navigation, let's click edit on the link that we've created. Okay, so in attributes, you want to select target new window. So, and that's only for like external links. If it's an internal link, we can leave it as is. So we have our Google link, but let's edit this to an internal link. So click edit on the link that you've created, and where it says link, I'm gonna click delete. And there's this little circle right here. This is kind of an indication that it has the capability of being able to read content from the site through AJAX, which doesn't mean much to most people. But if we start typing something, it'll start looking through the content of the site. So if you start typing T, that's probably the most common. So like our weather, so WEA. And now we have, let's click that first one for weather. That'll select that weather page for us, so we don't have to, in your internal site pages, if you're making, like, if you're hard coding a link for that page, you don't have to put in that URL. And I would recommend not and using this way, because this is going to be using and one of the big advantages of Drupal, since it's a database, it creates a relationship to that node or that piece of content. And so if you change that, the title, which would change the path, it will automatically update it for you if you use links this way. Because it's really looking at that number next to weather. That's the ID of that page, which is super handy. So I'm going to change my title to weather, description to weather, and also in the attributes, since it's an internal page, we can just go back to select. So like basically we're not selecting a target. If you wanted to, you could click self, but really it's not needed. Is everyone following along with that internal link mechanism? Yes? Cool. So it's super handy because if you ever change a page's title, and if you hard coded the path to it, that link would break, and this way it prevents it from breaking. So I'm gonna click save, and then now we have our weather link. And if we go back to the front end of the site and click refresh and check it out, click weather, it'll access denied because it's something up with that page because it's being grumpy. And then let's remove that link now. So going back to our navigation, and we can click edit and delete. So at the bottom there's delete button, or from here we can just click delete here, and then it'll ask, are you sure you want to delete this? Because there's no undo. And there's no undo on any of this. Like once you make your change, it's done. So we've deleted it, and now we have our clean navigation. Okay, so that's navigation for Drupal. It's pretty powerful and fairly easy to maintain. What's cool is when you create content, you're going to be adding a link when you're creating content. Let's see. So next thing I was going to do was show the WYSIWYG, but I'm going to jump to the basic page. I'm going to stop the recording.